Good morning and thank you for keeping it Citizen Television. We appreciate your time and company. Welcome to the Social Hour this Tuesday as we talk about matters love. Last month, actually, we were just talking about financial wellness. Tulianza hivyo kwa sababu ilikuwa January, but now it's February and we want to talk about love. We want to talk about relationships and we want to start with the, unajua vile wanasemanga good, bad, ugly. Let's start with the bad and then as we get into the good and then hopefully huko mwisho we'll see how things will turn out. But today we want to talk about when love goes wrong and people have to part ways. Hapo hatuongeangi, but there is something very significant with how you break up, and it will even determine how you will move on. It will inform even decisions you will make in future relationships. And let's talk about breakups, what they mean and how best can we navigate, especially when you have a toxic ex. And that is what we want to discuss with my panel this morning, fully constituted for this very important discussion. If I could introduce, you already know them. I'll start with the far end. Ken Munywa, psychologist, kutusoma soma, ashajua what you're going to say. Karibu sana. Thank you so much for creating time. We have Roberta Bobby.
Hello.
Hey, looking all ish.
Bringing the colors.
I'm telling you. Her Royal Highness.
Salama.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Looking good. Good
Thank
to have you.
Today, actually, my mom told me, you dress... Siko sure lakini sawa tu, but
Iko
many
sawa.
compliments.
It works. All right, and then we have QT. QT waliamua na Ken wakue kwa group.
Ni memo, ilikuwa memo.
Ache memo watu wache nje, but it's okay.
Black and white, you can never go wrong with black, so anytime, black anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa sawa. Good to see you, looking good also.
Thank
and
you.
CJ, karibu sana, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank
It's
you.
been a minute.
Happy New Year.
Really? No, I think he was actually here.
I was here. It's been 2 weeks.
That is to show how long, like,
Yeah.
he was here.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
All right, so today, mimi niliuliza, mbona tuongee kuhusu exes na ni month ya mapenzi, Roberta. Roberta. Mbona hii mambo?
Nataka tu kujua tips za ku break up, how to break up with somebody. You know, just...
Kuna kuanga na procedure.
I feel like that's something we don't talk about. And we realize especially in the African society, we don't talk about things like grief, loss, like losing things, breaking up, moving on from things. We don't really have a lot of education around that. We don't have honest, open conversations about it. So some people don't even know, like, maybe there's a strategy to breaking up, or there's a formula, or there's a way you do it so that it's lighter. I don't know.
No, kuna kuanga na procedure. Me, I'm still stuck there.
Unaweza text mtu, unaweza mghost, yani wachange tu kumwongelesha, lakini Instagram una like pictures bado. Unaweza itana lunch, mwambiane kwa uzuri, it's not me. No, it's not you.
I'm
it's
the problem.
Me.
You're too perfect. You are too perfect for me. You're too
good for me. You know, I can't handle this anymore. So yeah, that's what I want to figure out. Like, how do you guys break up with people? Can amesema hana ex?
Hiyo ni swali ngumu kuuliza.
Disclaimer, yeah, disclaimer.
Leo mtuambie ukweli.
QT alikuwa anasema mtakosaje ex. QT. Kuna watu wanataka kusalimia ni waseme see God. See God.
Ama aliwaambia waoche.
Talk to those people.
I'm the ex that you dumped. Oh, tunasema mimi si changu, but I think there's no easier way to break up with someone. It's never easy because you're already in love with this person. You love them. Ushapanga future. Unajua kama tunakuwa na weakness moja, si upangaga future kwa akili. Ukishamit chali, ushapanga vile mtahavu watu wangapi, vile watu watakaa, wataenda shule gani. Yani madem si ukuanga hivyo. I don't know if men do the same thing, but women were always like that. So by the time umse anakuja aanze kuambia story ya ku break up. And nowadays people don't break up. People just ghost you. Mtu anachatuku kuongelesha by the way, nguo zako zilibaki kwake. By the way una realize, aya na umse siku hizi anicall, na umse siku hizi aniti what's going on? By the time umuulize anaanza kukuambia zile za ai. Kwani ulikuwa na need what else did you need? Kwani uone signs?
Read the signs on the wall.
The writing is on the wall, unashindwa ni nini, but I think it's important to actually break up with someone. Give them, inaitago closure. Closure ni important. Ambia msee mbona umemwacha. I think hapo ndio vile Roberta amesema watu wapendi kuongelelea break up. Unataka tu achane na msee but utaimwambia, but you see mtu mwenye ameachwa ndo anabaki na maswali mob sana. Unajulizanga, what did I do? You actually realize it has nothing to do with you. Unaona mtu mwenye ame break up naye, that's the real issue. Yeye ndo akona hizo ma issues cause wako poa, umependa huyu msee, umekuwa na yeye, like wewe hata ushaanza kupanga future, ushapanga rurashio, ushapanga wido, unaelewa? But yeye alisha left group. Usharetire naye, but yeye alisha left group kitambo. But they never really have the courage like to tell you, hey, by the way, it's not working out. But I think it's very important. Yani kama uko hapo nje na ufeel msee, acha kumuistia time. Stop dragging someone into your messes, into your losses, into your, maybe hata ujai heal na ule ex wako mwingine ushaleta huyu tena unataka kumove on. You know, there are people who are like that. Like ako hapa asha move on tena leo ame break up na huyu, kuna kitu anatafuta kwa kila mtu. But I think it's really unfair that you're just dragging someone na haumwambi like haumfeel. I think it's really unfair, and I think it's important that you talk it out face to face instead of texting. Hizo texts za by the way mimi nime left group, unaelewa?
The same way ulikuona when you were
ukimkatia. Yes, it's the same way.
Time,
lazima create time,
ukampeleka dates.
Imagine
physical, like it was not
relationships ni job, na lazima uambie mtu kwa nini. Please mwambie kwa nini, usimwache kwa mata, because if you don't tell that someone, they might unaweza end up kumess na feelings zake na hati yake na mind yake. So please, if you just tell someone, mwambie heri ya hati kesa hizi kuliko abebe hiyo kitu aishi kujiuliza sasa mbona aliniacha, was I not enough? Unajua tu si ni human beings, we ask ourselves those questions. So it's important.
Can I just add something? Nimerealize red flags kuwa ni sisi uzilenga. Like yes, ni vizuri mtu akwambie na akupe closure, but nimerealize if someone ghosts you in the end, they were probably avoidant during the relationship. Their communication was not always A1. You had to push for you to get information out of them. They weren't really forthcoming with information like, hey babe, leo nimeenda hapa, ndatoka hapa sahi, I'm coming home late, I'm nini. They're just like that. So even the breakup is just like that.
It was coming. It was force issues.
Ni wewe ulikuwa unajiforce hapo. Mtu alikwambia I love you, can believe.
Lakini you're supposed to believe. Hey, sure. You're supposed to believe.
Nairobi.
Wewe. Unajua tuko February. Aya, sasa Ken, wewe ulisema, kuna ex, ni vibaya kukuwa na ex.
Hapana.
Ama kukuwa na ex wengi.
Hapana.
Ongelea hizo vitu mbili. Ukinotice wewe uko na kashida, like wewe uko na ex wengi, is that a problem?
Yes, actually. You know, sometimes we want to discuss about the other person, and you forget that you could actually be the toxic one in the relationship. Many a times when a relationship goes south, it is good not to focus on what the other person did. Sometimes it's okay to introspect. What did I contribute into this? Kiti anasema it is good to have closure. Shida hii generation, closure ni mechi. That's what
my goodness.
One for the road.
Kwa mangua alafu
kuchukua hairband na toothbrush.
That's a problem. Not all relationships are meant to work, but relationships is investment. Nobody invests with the hope of making a loss. So even when you're getting into a relationship, you're making an emotional investment or in the hope of I will reap one day, sooner or later. But when the relationship goes south, I want to believe that two mature people can come and talk. It's okay to be told you are too perfect for me, so that you're given an opportunity. Is it that you are too immature? Because you know, there are people who want to make you feel good. But the truth of the matter is you are not as perfect. It's okay to...
It's not usually true that
it is not usually true. You're just pacifying. Sometimes it's a pacification. No. You know, when you're talking about the red flags, love is so blind. Marriage is the eye opener. Until you get married, you become, your eyes open up. But when love blinds you, you are unable to see beyond. And I will consistently say is when you take things too fast. Leo si ni 4th. Kuna mtu anataka date ya 14th. You want to fast track even the talking stage, ndio 14th mkue kama couple. It cannot work. Take your time. Take your time so that you get to know this person. What do they stand for? And it is also very important to understand how did they break up How do you meet a 35-year-old who tells you I've never had an ex?
Hey, good question.
Well, leave alone all those. Even a teenager must have had a relationship somewhere. A teenager between the age of, 16 to 19, you must have had a relationship somewhere. So you cannot tell me a 25-year-old that you are too good to be true unless you are over-religious. Religiosity is fanaticism. So what were you escaping from when you are going into religion? Or are you living in a cocoon where the world is just you? Then you're not being real. And sometimes what I think is because of being too anxious whether this person will accept me or not, we tend to lie too much when you're getting into relationships. And you overlie. And when you get somebody who is overlying or overloving you, that's a red flag that you shouldn't even assume, oh, perfect, there is no perfect man. There is no perfect lady, tall, dark, handsome, with money. Something must be amiss. Waiting for you.
They've never interacted
God made this one specifically for me. Hey, I think when you're blinded too much, you do not see the reality. And when you open up your eyes and you start seeing the reality, then you get to understand, hey, kumbe, this person was lying. Yeah.
You could have socialized. You could say you could have socialized. You never met the right person.
Correct.
That's allowed. Maybe you've been seeing other people, but you have never met like the right person, and you feel like for the first time, you are in the right place. You're lying by the ufika home. Anyway, CJ, you know, sometimes letting go is usually the most difficult decision to make. That's why many people just decide either to silently move on as they try to see whether they can move on first before they officially declare they've moved on. Or sometimes people just hold on to something that is not working because of that fear of letting go of something. So from your perspective, what do you think should get us to that point of really seeing that this is heading nowhere? What are some of the things that couples need to look at? Ndio tujue the breakup is the best solution that we can ever have for this relationship without messing a good thing.
I think that prescription would better come from Ken on when to break up. But
Ken doesn't have an ex.
But you see, like he said, when you're getting into a relationship, it's an investment. And nobody goes in to lose. So that's what makes it very difficult, even just to think you're going to lose it. You'll always want to find something that can work, because there must have been something that attracted you. May have been the qualities, the personality, the aura around this person. And sometimes it's your own idea about whom this person is supposed to be. And so you're sticking to it because of the idea that you have. And you're still trying to believe that they can fit into that picture.
You can become what you want.
And you can work it out. Because also there have been people who have let go and then later on looked at the person that they let go of and thought, if I waited a bit longer, this would have changed.
Hello, people.
So the fear of regret sometimes, you know, there are all these stories, and especially ladies are told that, you know, when you meet a guy and he's down financially, you don't know whom he will become. And sometimes a lady may meet somebody who's not just down financially, he's outright lazy. But then she's afraid he might become something. And so she doesn't want to miss out on that future. So she holds on longer than she should. Everything is telling you this is not just a matter of where he is at financially, it is his work ethic, it is lack of vision, it's lack of drive. But then you're afraid that I may let go and then this person becomes something else. So that is one of the things that makes people hold on a bit longer. It is this hope that they keep on having. And some people know how to sell hope to people, you know. They'll keep on making you feel like things are going to turn better. And depending also on how you have grown up, been socialized, your attachment styles, as Bobby is talking about, you might decide to cling. There are people who are terrible at losing. They'd rather hold on to something even if it is failing, but they don't want to have anything that represents loss in their lives. So we deal with a lot of things when it comes to matters of whether to let go or not. And that's why sometimes people will also stay in an abusive relationship, because sometimes that abuse is what this person thinks is love. this is how love was introduced to them. Toxicity, abuse, you know, violence, being put down, being talked down at, and that's what they have always known. So when somebody's doing that, it's familiar territory for them, and they would rather stick in the familiar than have something unfamiliar. When QT normally talks about the reality on the ground, for some people, they will feel like if you are kind, considerate, respectful, you're fake. That's too good to be. There's something you're hiding.
So, in this generation, you can't love like
they don't just believe that there are some people who are also raised to treat people with respect. So we deal with a lot of our background and childhood issues when it comes to relationships. Because remember, relationships were not first formed in school. It's from home. You see your parents, whether you have a dysfunctional family or not, it starts from there. So how you have related with loss, how you have related with being left, how you have related with love is going to determine how you will relate with people, and especially when it comes to things like breakup.
All right. Yeah. As we close that, just to add on to, you know, the things that you can also look at from your perspective. This is it. Like this cannot be salvaged in any other way from your perspective.
You see, I like what CJ has put, that in a generation where gratitude is lacking, any act of gratitude seems like it's fakeness. It's okay to get to understand what were you looking for in the first place, and are you getting into a journey? 3 questions are very important. Where have we come from together? Yeah, we came from unknown. We were just acquaintances. Nobody knew each other. Then where are we right now? Are we making progress? If you're not discussing anything futuristic with your partner right now, it simply means you're just meandering, and you're just there. We are keeping each other busy. Any relationship that is not futuristic, that's a red flag. Any relationship that holds you, does not want you to go out there, incorporate other people. You know, a relationship must be progressive. We started the 2 of us. You introduced to me your friends, not the fake friends who, finally umepata mtu. And you don't know how many. You're finally in love. Where? You know, and especially women, sisi wanaume, women are very guilty of doing that. Yeah? And sometimes I feel like we are just taking advantage of women when we do that with our squad. Yeah? It's very important to understand, where are we right now? Yeah. Where are we headed to? So let's sit down. I have always talked about taking a stock take, inventory stock take of your relationship. How far are we? It's 2 months down the line in the year. What are we looking forward to do together? Yeah? What are we looking forward to achieve together? If there is no achievement being discussed, and if there is some abuse, emotional abuse. I am an ambassador of that relationships must work, but I can also tell you that abuse that involves domestic abuses, emotional abuses, abuses that also want to incorporate how you were brought up, like somebody just even want to pinpoint, you were not raised up in the right manner. Excuse me? You've just met me a year ago and you think all my 30 years have been wasted because of where I've been. If somebody just wants to pull you down, I always say, people with a PhD, pull him down, pull her down. Yeah? If you're dating somebody who has a PhD in relationship, they just want to show you your imperfections and want to compare you with where they have come from, or compare you with whom they have dated previously. If it was that perfect with your ex, why did you leave?
Good question. Wow. Yeah? As you ponder over that, let's talk about, I believe you've gotten tips on who you should begin getting rid of before 14th. Anyway.
Hata wangefanya January.
Hii tunataka kupata the right people, dating the right people, loving them the right way. QT kuna watu waachiki. And that is what actually formed the center of what we want to discuss this morning. Kuna watu waachiki. Ukiachwa waachiki.
Kubali.
Toxic exes who do not want you to progress in life.
Watu wana hold on, watu wataki kuachika vile umeisema, but tukikuwa maybe if we look at what has been happening even last year, even this year, it's still happening. Unacheki wasee wengi, kuna hizo cases za femicide, kuna cases za hata madem bado wana stab maboy wanaoana. Unajua ni juu ya kama mtu mwingine haizi kuhave, if I can't have you, no one else will have you. You know, we have that mentality, and it's a very bad mentality, Safin, because why would you have such a mentality, honestly? Unaget, like at the end of the day, kama msee amekuacha, actually you're supposed to think of it as a blessing. Think of it as, oh, umenikata. Sasa hiyo ndio nafaa kwanza ikupush uende uko even a better person, ndio akuje acheki kwa nini niliacha. Unaget vitu kama hizo. So I think vitu zina affect each generation mostly, because okay, maybe hata kama kitambo zilikuwa na ziko zinakuwa highlighted so much, but it wasn't as bad as it is right now. Watu wako na so much bitterness. Yani unaona msee umemwacha, mmeachana naye, lakini anakustalk. Do you know stalking imekuwa ni kama ni kitu ya kawaida. Unapata msee anakufollow, msee anakufuata, msee anajua uko wapi. So you're just there wondering, okay, kwani you're supposed to be my custodian or something, you understand? But I think people should heal. Iyo process ya kuheal ni very important, and we don't heal, Safin. Watu unaona ukibreak up, unaendaga unatafuta rebound, you start moving on with someone else. You've not healed from hata ujui ni nini ilifanya kwanza break up. And as Ken said, maybe you are the toxic person in the relationship. Msee anaweza kuwa amekuacha, but hata sometimes inaweza kuwa ni juu wewe mwenyewe ndio ulikuwa mbaya, wewe mwenyewe ulikuwa toxic. So it's good to just sit down, ponder over your life. Jite tu ka meeting ujiulize, by the way, ni wapi nilikosea? Boy alikuwa anasema hivi, dem alikuwa anasema ABCD. So you need to sit down, think about it, na uone kama unaweza make hata hizo changes, not even for them, just for yourself. Maybe mtu akwambia you're too clingy, understand, ama you're too nagging, you're too whatever. It could be true, or maybe endo akona issues zake, but jite kamkutano, kaa chini, think about it and see if you can actually work on those traits. Na hiyo ndio inakuanga the hardest thing kufanya.
It is easier said than done.
No, but let me tell you something. It has to be done.
I mean,
those are the hard.
Mtu mwenye amekasirika.
Hizo ndio vitu zenye tunasema watu wapendi kuziongelelea na watu wapendi kuzifanya. But usipoheal wewe mwenyewe, Safin, remember you're going into another relationship. Fine, mtaachana naye, uende proof point, oh, I'm even better with him, I'm even prettier with him, he's taking care of me, he's paying my bills. But did you sort out the issue that was there before? How kusort hiyo ngori ilikuwa hapo? So imagine you're moving on with the same issue, toxic traits, moving on with another person. Ule mwingine bado akuache because of the same. Tena you move to another person. You see, at the end of the day, when unajiwaste, you're the one who is wasting yourself. Na utaend up kukua na ma-ex wengi because you are not dealing with the real issue. What's the main issue? Jiulize. Inaweza kuwa ni yeye, inaweza kuwa ni wewe. So I think hapo ndio tutakangi kukaa chini. By the way, hiyo kitu ya kusema you might be the toxic one. Even in friendships, kaa chini ujiulize maswali mingi. You see those uncomfortable questions and these discussions that we have here. Hizo ndio vitu zenye unafaa kujiuliza. Was I the toxic person? Was I the bad person? Jiulize hizo maswali, and you can actually work on them, and as I said, do them for yourself. Not even for that person that is already your ex. History ya kusema ati kama mimi siwezi kuwa na wewe, mtu mwingine hawezi kuwa na wewe, I think that is something that needs to be addressed. Watu wako na mental health issues, like ni mental. Hizo ni vitu mental, Safin, na ni vitu zenye watu deal nazo wewe mwenyewe. Hakuna mtu mwenye anakam kukusaidia. No one is coming to save you.
Kuna time kwa show tumeongea kuhusu moving on.
Let me
show we talked about moving
add something to that. Sorry. Let me add something to that. I think we also need to recognize how we deal with rejection.
Yes.
Because the reason why somebody would want to stalk you is they feel rejected. And so the question is, what does rejection represent to them?
At that time.
At that time. Does it make them feel that they are less? Or is it that they've never even dealt with rejection? Some people have been so pampered that when you reject them, it is so unfamiliar, they will react. Everybody around them has always given them whatever they want. They become very manipulative. So the day they hear a no from Bobby, they can't handle that. They've never built themselves to deal with somebody saying no to them. So they have to inflict this pain because they're feeling a pain that they need to project somehow. So it's good to also know how people deal with rejection before you get into how they receive love. Because at one time, you will say no to something. It may not even be a breakup. You may just say, no, we're not going this direction, and you'll see drama because they don't know how to handle a no.
Sometimes within the relationship, you need to push those buttons. Kidogo, you see how...
Yeah.
Try saying no. You don't mean it, but...
No. Even if you mean it, it's okay. No. You know that is pretense, eh?
Okay.
Pretense really hurts relationships, eh? Because pretense is like pregnancy. You can't hide it forever. At one particular time, it will blow.
Yes.
Everybody will see you're pregnant. Don't pretend. That's just what I wanted to say. The problem, as CJ is putting, is when you get into a relationship with a lot of entitlement. It's all about receiving. Yeah. Recipients do not care so much about the persons who are giving. You cannot be a person who is going to start causing drama because you're lacking what you're entitled to. You are not entitled to anything in a relationship. You bring your 100, I bring my 100. It's never any other percentile. So if you want to be given, be ready to also give. Yeah.
Okay, kuna swali nitaka kuwauliza, but let me go to Roberta first. Roberta, because constitution hainiallow kukuuliza how many exes you have.
But it's still okay.
I'll try and stick to what the
My husband might be watching.
Exactly.
And he's wondering, this girl, hey.
Finally.
Have you ever...
Husband, please just message me still. Don't be afraid.
People say it's easier to kuacha than kuachwa. That's where the bitterness comes from. When you leave someone, you've already sat down, you've already, have that thought in your mind, you've already processed even how the future is going to look like. So it's much easier. I know it's difficult, but it's much easier for the person who is walking out of the relationship or who is calling the first shot to go than the one who is caught off guard and is told, this is no longer working, because maybe you have never thought about the relationship getting to that point. So would you say that at some point unaweza kuwa justified kufilako ka uchungu kakuachwa juu hiyo ndo naletanga hiyo shida yote?
As a former dumper and dumpy, I've been on both sides. To be honest, it's not easy. I used to think, unajua nilikuwa sijai achana, nilikuwa tu naachwangwa. Lakini ile time ilibidi niache mtu. It's not easy. It's not easier. Even if you've already processed and you've had time to think about it, remember, it still requires confrontation. And that's what we're talking about here today. Having the actual conversation of breaking up and maybe giving each other closure and more information. Especially when you're grown up, I've realized breakups become, like when you're healing and working on yourself, breakups become a bit more intentional as well. The same way we talk about putting effort into business, putting effort into relationships, putting effort into who you are. Even breaking up with someone you love or don't love anymore, it's not easy because it reaches a point you actually have to have the conversation and confront them. Imagine sitting with someone you once shared so much with and having to tell them, by the way, mdomo yako unuka, na mi tu relationship haiwezi endelea je story. Hiyo ni example. Hiyo ni example. But some it can be an issue. Maybe tu umefika point yenyewe umefanya everything. Maybe umefika point yenyewe hiyo umedo everything na tu high work. You still have to sit with this person that you care about and tell them these truths about, I don't feel loved, ama you're not doing this enough, ama I feel like I'm not able to be in this space, blah, blah, blah. It's not easy. Breaking up with someone is not easy. It doesn't matter how, unless maybe like it's been 20 years, 15 years, 5 years, and you've been done, like I'm tired. But if you still care for the person and you have empathy and you're a human being, it's basic. So regardless whether you're the one walking or unaachwa, the impact is still kind of... Okay, not the same, but like it's different for every situation. But I'd like for people to understand that having respect throughout, including when you're fighting, when you're arguing, when you're breaking up, it's so mandatory. And earlier, the other question you asked me before, I was talking about like how people ghost you. They leave without communicating, and normally you have seen those red signs. Kuna hii kitu inaitwa love bombing na future faking. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. You meet someone, they come into your life. Day one, they're calling you darling, babe, baby. The next day they're telling you we'll be traveling together. Sijui what, I want to marry you. Oh, they talk, they're so sweet. real con men, they will tell you everything. Or women. Okay, let me speak about what me I date. You can apply it the way you want in your relationship. Una meet seasoned con man, anakuambia, I'll marry you. Even my friends have been saying, you will never meet those friends. You will never meet those parents. Even my brother, we will travel together. Anata passport. Oh, CG, we will do what? Love bombing. You know, they make you, and if you're desperate for love and attention and affection, and sometimes being desperate is not a bad thing. You just really do need love. Love is a basic human need, validation. It's basic to want these things. So if you're in a position where you've not been putting in the work to work on yourself, someone as beautiful as QT comes into your life and anakuambia, babe, yo G-Wagon ndaisimamisha hapo kwa parking. Kauko materialistic unaingia box. Ama kauko desperate unaingia box. And you see, when you talk to someone long enough, they tell on themselves. You'll ask important questions. You'll hear, like, why did you break up with your ex? You know, we broke up because I was avoidant. I never used to confront conversations. Kwani, how do you think he'll leave you also? He'll ghost you. The same way he was ghosting his ex.
No, but there's room for grace, Roberta.
There is.
Ali learn from that. Anataka sasa kukuwa better na wewe. I mean, give people
I
a
actually
chance.
have a lot of respect for people who take responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, if he says, I was, that's a good thing.
But this is the point I'm trying to say. Hizo zote ni sawa. Lakini listen, kuna kitu inaitwa cognitive dissonance. You'll always feel a discrepancy between the feelings you have within yourself and the things they're saying. When someone is being genuine, kama CJ akituambia story, tuna believing because you know, you can tell it's a genuine story. Hata kana tudanganya, maybe his cadence and the way he speaks. It's you know, since we've built the trust. You're messing up a brand. No, CJ doesn't lie, by the way. Since we've built the trust, you're able to tell, today CJ is not being 100%. Today something is amiss. So if you're hanging out with someone enough, you will be able to tell that story. Wacha nieke asterisk hapo. Kuna mtu atakwambia, me, by the way, me and my ex, we broke up because of this, and I'm here, I'm actively trying to work on myself. You will see the actions, there will be no discrepancies, their words and the actions will consistently match. But someone who's future faking and love bombing and telling you all these grandiose stories about, you know, where they want to see you, story 2 mob, yani ni month 1, lakini ashakwambia, even December we will... Listen, watch for the things they say.
People, kuna tu wale wenyewe wanaangukianga hiyo bill.
Washaanza kuambiwa.
No. You wanataka flowers 14th. Lakini imagine, afadhali ukwe single peke yako kwa nyumba yako, than ukwe na maua za mtu mwenye anakufanya ufeel something is wrong. And it's just important. I'm saying this because most times, even as the dumpy, we sit there and wonder, you know, how could he leave me? How could he ghost me? Why did he do that to me? Sometimes sisi hatutaki kutake your responsibility. And I'm not blaming the victim, but it's important to take responsibility in your relationship as well and see. Last time, Ken aliniambia atakuja home by 11. Honestly, it's 9 p.m. He's not communicated. He's not told me. I don't know where he is. It's almost midnight now. How is he? Those small things. People who keep their word, people who say what they mean, people who say the truth. Listen and watch. Don't just listen to words, because anyone can tell you anything. Na hizi red flags tunalenga. Ken has said this thing here before. He said, marriages don't become wrong. They start wrong. Something like that. It's true. Every relationship, the way you start off, the way you guys listen and speak to each other, hizi red flags zote. Ndio maana sometimes ukiachwa ama ukidampiwa, it's not even... Nimesema situations vary because sometimes it's not as painful because you're like, I saw it coming. Ken was never a great communicator. Why would I be shocked that he's ghosted me? He was never communicating ever. So sometimes we fall in love. What QT was talking about, we fall in love with potential. No, what CJ was talking about, QT was laughing about it. You fall in love with potential. You know, hizo stories za jaba. One day, usha fall in love, usha marry, mpaka msha walk down the aisle. Na umse amekupea tu story. Hizi ni story upea kila mtu. Ana meeting a new person every week and anawapea the same script. So be vigilant and be careful. I'm not saying don't believe in love and don't give people grace, but make sure your cognitive dissonance, immediately someone says something and you start feeling you'll get the feeling in your gut. You'll just start to feel. And you see the thing with intuition, there's no way you're going to be perfect at it if you're not working on yourself actively. You have to bring yourself to a point where you're able to listen to yourself and believe the feelings you have.
Right. You guys make love look like it's work.
But it is work. It is work.
That's the thing.
It is work.
It is a lot of work.
When did happen? Vitu zina happen, vitu zina flow. And these are the basic things we take for granted. Because for you to really achieve what, all of you are describing, it means you really have to be present within yourself so that you can begin to feel these things and even notice these things and even find these conversations important to have. Si ile tu fall in love and then you go as the wacha tuone vile itaenda. Ati babe tunafanyaje? Wacha tuone. Wacha tuone vile hii kitu itaenda. That is not a relationship. So I want us to talk about how do you deal with this toxic exes, CJ? Tuanzie psychology kwanza. Ni nini happen kwa mind ya watu? Because unapata in most situations mtu akikudump anakuachilia until you start moving on, until Jesus starts happening in your life. That's when they realize,
oh, I missed it.
Anaanza kukusumbua. What usually happens?
You see, relationship loss is just like any other loss. You go through stages. In loss and grief, maybe we can expound it later when we have enough time. We call it the Dabda stage. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Not so many people get into acceptance. Many people are at bargaining and depression. So toxicity comes in at the depressive stage. Yeah? It's an ego. You bruised my ego. Hurt people will always want to hurt people. So if you left them and they became hurt, there are two things that might happen. They might either go and look for another person to hurt, or if they do not get another person to hurt, they want to get even with you. Yeah? So there are two things that might happen. They may never want you to get happy in life because it's an id issue. Many people call it an ego issue. It's not an ego. Ego actually thinks. Id ni utoto. Yeah, these people who hawezi waachika, the toxic lovers are looking to get even. Number one, you need to know you're protected by law. Yeah, we fail to get to that stage of telling people it's okay to go to the law and tell this person, excuse me, you cannot do this anymore. Number two, these are manipulators. Manipulators will always look for somebody who cows out. Somebody who plays second fiddle, like they want to give you an upper hand because you were used to controlling them. Manipulators, you stand against them and tell them, excuse me, it's not going to work the way you think. You cannot control me anymore. And if you think that you have every right to do whatever you want to do with me, then I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Then thirdly, and the most important, depression is a stage of sickness. This is a sick person. Many people get into the relationship with the hope that I will turn this person around. You are not a messiah. Yeah? Many toxic people, when you hear them talking about toxic exes, that's a sign that they are actually the toxic ex. Many people who are left and they accepted will never talk about where they have come from. I have always said, I have said this in this program, that you cannot get to your next if you're not over your ex. So deal with yourself. Deal with your exes. Introspect, as QT has said. Look at what did I do that I want to avoid doing in the next life. It's okay for people to be futuristic because maybe they are also catching up. Yeah? Sometimes you even wonder, what do women want? Ukitaka mtu anakupenda sana, hiyo ni red flag. Ukipata mtu hakupendi, bado ni red flag. No, some people are genuine because of where they have come from and they are now ready to commit. Yes, they are ready to love better. But you also need to listen at, are they being verbose? Are they over-promising? They are promising you the planet. Where do they expect the rest of us to live, surely? Yeah? So, kama mtu, you hear from your hindsight that this person might be sick, please take your time with them.
Full stop.
But it's true.
Sick. Yeah. CJ, you are in that situation, for instance, somebody's watching and they are constantly always trying to move on, but kuna huyu tu mtu, or this lady who has made it their mission to destroy anything good that comes in their lives. How do you get yourself out of that cobweb from where I sit?
You know, most of those people, even the very beginning, as Ken is talking about, you got into a relationship with a sick person. Most of them, I'm just building on it. Most of them, most of them are very needy, even from the beginning. So the reason some of us get into that is that we want to be needed.
Yes.
Right from the start.
Which is also.
And at some point, that was feeding our own desires and the appetite. You want to be needed. So this person is absolutely needy, never does anything for themselves, but you feel relevant. When you begin to grow and become better, or this becomes too much for you, or you can't handle what they expect, and you want to walk away, they don't know how to let you go. But this was something that you needed at some point. So some of us are the reason why we even have this difficult exes, because this is something we walked into.
Okay.
They were very emotionally needy. We came in. We wanted to be their messiahs then. So now when you want to walk away, this represents a whole different thing. Like I said, you know, what does rejection mean to somebody? Does it mean that I am less, I am bad, I am lower? Does it mean I'm not lovable? Does it mean I'm not beautiful, I'm not handsome, I'm not? All of those things are playing in the mind of this person. And so sometimes when they're coming after you, they're coming after what they think your rejection represents to them. It is like you are saying I'm not beautiful enough, so they're coming after you because you are non-verbally saying something to them. When we get to people, it is important to start relating with people who are actually whole.
Who are not sick.
People who are whole. Because that thing will pose a problem. You won't be their therapist. Some people get into relationships to become the other person's therapist. Or you start a friendship with somebody who is emotionally in a particular place, then they fall in love with you. And then you feel that this is a very good connection, and you start building a relationship from something that was mostly a support system. And so now later on, you feel like I can't be the therapist anymore. But this person is wondering, what other world do I have outside of you? You have become their world. It's like a tendril that will coil around a plant. So most of the time, it's how we start. Now, by the time we want to disconnect, if this was a plant that is coiling around you, if you're going to cut it off, it will fall. So because of being scared, it needs to stay supported on you.
So it will come back.
It has to come back because it has no life outside of you.
What if, in some cases, CJ, what if they're the ones who left and they even went quiet on you and they even moved on before you, and then suddenly you decide to dust yourself off, kasema sawa, nimeachwa, let me move on also. And then the moment you start showing signs that you're doing well, that's when wanatokeanga sijui kwa shimo gani.
Now you see, that is control.
Yeah.
Now that's control.
Gaslight us.
That's control, where somebody wants to ensure that you never do anything for yourself outside of themselves. And the way to deal with control is confrontation. You have to confront it one way or the other, whether you're going legally or you're going to talk to this person. If you don't know how to do that, if it is possible, sometimes you just need to relocate. Move away from their space. Because sometimes it's also a lot of energy. Dealing with this person over and over and telling them, you know, you're not supposed to call me. You're not supposed to find her. You keep on shifting houses one to the other. And everybody you meet, they find a way to get this person. You change your social media platforms, whatever handles. You need to change your number. That's a lot of work. So if it is becoming too much, sometimes when it is possible, you start somewhere else, or just get enforcement. Get enforcement from the court and say, look, restraining orders. Don't call me, don't come near me, don't mention my name anywhere. You can get people restrained from even talking about you, you know, because so that they can't mention your name anywhere, they can't write about you anywhere. Sometimes you got to go that hard when you realize that you're not going to win against this person.
All right. Something just popped into my mind, Roberta, nikafikiria. Ushai kwa hiyo journey yako, kuna mmoja ushai feel like, okay, mwili imesema tuende.
Yeah. And that's
wale unasikianga kuna ka feeling, you know.
And that's the cognitive dissonance I'm actually talking about.
Warudi huko kusumbua.
Yeah. That's that discrepancy I was talking about. Listen, Listen to your body. And you can't listen to yourself if you never listen to yourself. If you've never taken time to teach yourself, okay, what does Bobby like? What flavor ice cream does Bobby like? What kind of guys does Bobby like? What can Bobby tolerate? Which rooms am I comfortable in? If you never ask yourself these questions, you'll find yourself easily swayed by people who are manipulative. You'll find yourself falling for things out of desperation. Because you're not complete and confident on your own. You're waiting for someone to come and save you or come and pick you up. Dames are in distress. That doesn't work. You really, really have to work on yourself. As in, hizi vitu zote tunabonga hapa, tunabonga juu ni vitu si ufanya, vitu tumepitia na vitu tuna go through. So
ushai go through, unapenda mtu.
Yeah, you need human. It's very normal. Una miss mse, lakini you have to
move on.
You have to sit and ask yourself.
Manzake kwa unasikia tu uchungu.
Hata hiyo stalking. We've done it. I won't pretend ujaenda Instagram kucheck. Umse wangu alienda unaona ameanza kuomoka. Inakuhat. If only I waited those 2 years. But listen, there's a very, very good... Cutie had said, sometimes the breakup is, you should... perspective, look at it from another way.
Right.
What has it helped you do? Sometimes mtu anakuacha ndo so unaanza kufikiria business ideas. Unafunguka akili. Sometimes unachonga unaenda gym. You know, those things, it's beneficial.
Right.
Think about like, how did they leave me? Did they leave me a better person? Have they left me? Most of the breakups I've been through, na si mingi sana. Like really I've been through. Before I was, grown and healing, I was in that toxic, sick, depressive, bargaining stage for so many years. But now, hata mtu akinighost ama niache, nakanga tu chini najiuliza, what can I do better? Like, how can I be better in the next relationship? How can I be a better person for myself? Because it's not easy kujita mkutano na useme pia mimi niko na flaws ama niko na mashida. But yes, that's a very normal human thing. It happens to everyone, even the best relationship coaches, even hata ukwe seasoned ama aje. The only way to test yourself is by being in the situation and then getting tested and knowing if you choose different. But it happens to everyone.
Wanasemanga sijui kama ni ukweli ati kuna ule ex moja utawaisa hata uoe.
But that's hiyo ni kweli. Hiyo nayo ni ukweli.
Ukiachana imeisha.
Uongo. Kubali yaisha.
Thank you so much for creating time. That's how we wrap it up, and we really appreciate your time and company. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Please engage us on social media, and we will be glad to be able to interact with you. My name is Safina Chengoma. Asante sana. Keep watching Citizen Television.